All right. Good morning. Today is Monday, October 5th, 2020. Let's write our I can for today. I can explain multiplication. And we're going to be doing a couple of rays today. We'll get to that in a minute. All right. Before we get into multiplication, I want to keep talking about what we were doing on Friday with our word problems. There are a couple of words that we need to be on the lookout for, and I just want to make sure that we've talked about them. When we hear the words, how many more? If we're asking, I have 2 dogs and my neighbor has 1 dog. Well, how many more dogs do I have than my neighbor? How many more means subtract. This is very tricky for kids because you see the word more and you think I should add, but when you see the words how many more, you should subtract. These are some other key words for subtracting. When you hear any words like taller, longer, farther, faster, shorter, longer. When you hear that at the end, that's often a clue that you're comparing two things. And if you're comparing two things, that's a good indication you need to subtract. All right. Just to make sure we talked about it. Now, let's move into multiplication. If I talked about something like 2 groups of 5, what does 2 groups of 5 mean? Well, some people would say it means 2 times 5. You're right. Some people would say, well, Miss Kirsten, I've seen people write it like this, and they would be right also. Sometimes we even see people write it like this. All of these things mean the same thing. This means 2 groups of 5. It means 2 times 5. It means 2 times 5. And 2 touching a parentheses with a number on the inside also just means to multiply. So 2 times 5. Well, let's try it with 5 groups of 2. I'm sure someone already thought of what property I just used. If you said commutative, you were exactly right. They just traded places. Now instead of having 2 times 5, now I have 5 times 2. And we could write it 5 times 2, or we could write it 5 times 2. Well, just to review even a little bit further, I know you guys are getting really good at these, but let's go ahead and make our fact family for 2, 5, and what would the product be of that number? 2, 5, and 10. You're exactly right. Oops, did not give us enough lines. Too fast, 4th grade teacher. All right, 2 times 5 equals 10. Let's use the commutative property and switch them around. 5 times 2 equals 10. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Who thinks they can fill in that last one for me? I'll give you a clue. You got to start with the biggest number. That's right. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. Now, 2 of these are commutative and 2 of these are not commutative. Multiplication is commutative. That means we can just change the order and we still get the same answer or the same product. Division is not commutative. We cannot just change the order and hope for the same answer. It won't work like that. If I have 10 cookies, I can split them into 2 piles and everybody will have 5. Or if I have 10 cookies, I can split them into 5 piles and everybody will have 2. But it is not commutative. That 10 always has to come first. So that introduces the commutative property. Let's write that one down. This is one of our first properties. And I know I'm going a little bit quickly. You can always pause and wait till you have it copied before you keep going, okay? All right, the commutative property just means that the numbers can switch in order. We could say 3 times 4, or we could say 4 times 3. I could say 3 plus 4, or I could say 4 plus 3. The important thing to remember about the commutative property is it only works for multiplication and addition. And that's the commutative property. It's just switching places. We also have something called the zero property. The zero property means any number you want, times 0 equals 0. 7 times 0 equals 0. 14 times 0 equals 0. 437 times 0 equals 0. Okay, any number in the whole world times 0 equals 0. We have another property called the identity property. And of course, we're talking about multiplication. There is another identity property, but we're talking about multiplication only. The identity property means any number times 1 equals any number. That means, and this is the little hashtag mark, that's another abbreviation for the word number. Any number times 1 will give you any number. That means 17 times 1 equals 17. 23 times 1 equals 23. 477 times 1 equals 477. This is the identity property. All right, so I'm almost out of room on my page. I'm going to go ahead and flip to the back of this page. Slide it over to make sure you guys can see with me. There we go. All right, we're going to do an example. And I'm going to say, Kaylin has 5 dogs. Each dog has 4 collars. How many collars are at Kaylin's house? Now I could have said total, and that might have confused people. Sometimes when they see the word total, they think, oh, I just have to add. This one's a little bit trickier, so one thing I would recommend would be drawing a picture for it. Now, I am not the art teacher, but I can do a sketch of something that looks like a dog. So I'm going to actually just put a D for dog, because anybody who knows my sketches know they're not fabulous. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dogs because it said Kaylin has 5 dogs. Now it says each dog has 4 collars. So I'm going to give this dog 1, 2, 3, 4 collars. I'm going to give this dog 4 collars, and I'm going to give this dog 4 collars. And I'm going to give this dog 4 collars. And I'm going to give this dog 4 collars. So that looks like all of my collars. We're looking for different ways that we can solve this problem. So the first solution that I had was I could draw a picture like I just did. I could draw a picture, and then I could count. This is a choice. You can do this. Every problem that we do, if you want to draw a picture out and count how many they are, you can come up with the right answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Kaylin has 20 dog collars at her house. But there are faster ways to do this. Let's think of a faster way besides drawing a picture. Number 2, I could take and I could use repeated addition. I'm looking at my picture and I'm trying to think, well, there's got to be a faster way. I'm just going to add these. So I'm going to take 4 from the first dog, plus 4 from the second dog, plus 4 from the third dog, plus 4 from the fourth dog, plus 4 from the fifth dog, and guess what? That gives me 20 collars total. So I've got 2 choices, and again, whichever one you like, you can do. This is to find a strategy that works for you while we're learning our facts. My next choice would be to skip count. Some of you are really good at skip counting. We could skip count. And when I skip count, I could start 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Kaylin has 20 dog collars at her house. Or I could multiply. I have 5 dogs. Each dog has 4 collars. 5 times 4 equals 20. These are 4 strategies that you can use. The last strategy that we want to make sure that we talk about, and I know that most of you are familiar with this, is of course drawing an array. An array is a picture that shows a certain number of boxes. It shows rows and columns. So I'm going to make 4 lines down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to make 3 lines across. 1, 2, 3. And so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can do 5 times 4 this way. So I could count my boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And that is the final strategy that we have at this moment for multiplication. So work hard on your practice today. You can pick any of these strategies that work for you. Have a good day.